You gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
If you didn't already love Navia, well, she quotes Dirty Harry, so you kinda gotta now. Characters like this are why I fell in love with the game in the first place, and I don't like to use the term save Geo, because I don't even know what that would look like exactly. I think the element does need a lot of work in general, but this is a huge step in the right direction, because not only is she insanely versatile with other teams, element types, but she has really high damage. She's a ton of fun to use, and she's what I call a complete character. Now, what is a complete character real quick? Well, that's a character where every aspect about their kit is useful in one way or another. Some examples of incomplete characters, for better or worse, are like Yaimiko. Yaimiko is really good, and I love using her, but her main attack and her charge attack are useless. It's not really what she's meant to be used for, I guess, in that sense. And it sucks because her charge attack's one of the cleanest looking ones in the game. Albedo, you don't really use his regular attacks. Dia, she's a different kind of incomplete character because she just doesn't work with some characters. She has no synergy in her burst. Tartaglia is an example, although he's a great example of a character that's incomplete that works. But once his stance runs out, and his regular bow attacks, unless you want to be Robin Hood with him, you gotta wait for skill to cool down, and Sino you need his burst up. Those are just some examples of incomplete characters, not saying that they're bad, but all aspects of their kit aren't necessarily useful or optimal. Someone like Eula isn't a good example of a character that's complete because her main attacks, her skill, and her burst all work really well in conjunction with each other. And Navia is a complete character. Her regular attacks, her shotgun, which is her main source of damage, and her burst all feed off each other really, really well. And not only do they feed well off each other, but they're really fun. And you can almost use just about anybody on a team comp with Navia because all you need to do is get crystallized shards and you're absolutely laughing. And did I already mention that this character is absurdly fun to use? Now, there's two main concerns that I had prior to actually getting to use this character, and it turns out that they're not problems at all, but the one was, will she need another Geo as a battery for her burst? That's a no. I've been using her pretty much since her character was released, non-stop. And I've used a lot of team comps, and let me tell you, you do not need a second Geo character in your party for her to work really well, although she does synergize with a second Geo too. It's really up to you if you want that Geo residence or if you just want to run multi-element teams. The list goes, we're going to get into how versatile she is, but you do not need to have two Geos. She does not need a battery. That was concern number one for her burst. Her burst has got a 60 energy cost, and it has a 12-second duration with a 15-second cooldown, which means you're going to have a lot of uptime on it and a lot of crystallization to be had. The second issue I was wondering is if she will be frail. Now, because she collects crystallized shards and uses them as basically shotgun shells, you're going to have the crystallized effect, which means you're going to have a lot of shielding. So she's not the most sturdy character, but because she's an attack and offensive oriented character, having the crystallized effect on you is actually going to make her quite sturdy in comparison to other glass cannon type characters, because she is a main field character that takes a lot of time. So you don't want her to be frail or fall apart right away. She doesn't. And that's something I kind of forgot about with Geo because I don't use Geo a whole lot, especially not lately. And the fact that you do need to cause crystallize with her means that you're going to have a lot of crystallization and you're going to have a lot of shield up for this. So having to rely on someone like Zhongli isn't necessary at all. So those were the two biggest concerns I had. Now, how does she actually work? Well, she has really cool attack animations. She has her skill that has 2 charges at C0. My Navia right now is at level 80, level 7 talents, but my skill's level 8. I do not have the best artifacts on her. I have a 2-piece Glad 2-piece Noble set, which isn't optimal by any means. It's just the best artifacts I could slap on her right now till I farm up her domain. I still need to farm her artifact set, which is her best in slot, but I can't even imagine how much damage she's going to do when she has really, really optimal artifacts. You know, 2-piece Glad, 2-piece, anything attack percent, Geo damage buffs, anything like that's going to be good on her if you want to have a 2-piece different kind of sets with her, or if you want to actually take the time to farm her new artifacts, because right now she's already hitting for like 100k damage with her skill at level 80, and like I said, I'm not hyper invested in her yet, and she's doing really well. That's just the damage alone from her skill. Her burst also I thought was going to be an issue, like I said, with energy, but it's not, because she's able to charge up her burst really fast, and her burst lasts for quite a while. So during this time, you're raining down Geo shards with your cannons, you're getting crystallized from whatever team comp you're running, and you're collecting these shards and you're just blasting shit. Literally, it's so fun. You're just shotgun blasting the shit out of everything, and it dies pretty quickly. Something to note, when you use her skill, your Claymore actually gets infused with Geo, so now, not only is your burst and your skill do Geo damage, but now your regular attacks. That's why I said she's a complete character, because every aspect of her kit is useful. So you can actually use her regular attacks to get crystallized as well. You do not need other Geo characters to cause this reaction. Navia has insane Geo application for being a Claymore user, with her skill, her burst, that has a long duration and short cooldown, and her actual infusion with her regular attacks. So causing reactions with other elements to create shards, collect them, and then keep repeating this cycle isn't only going to be very possible and easy to do, but it's so freaking fun to do. And that gets me into my next point. This character is the complete package. For a Geo character especially, because like I said, for being offensive oriented, she's not super weak and frail. She causes crystallization and benefits from it, so she's going to be at least sturdy enough to survive without needing a shielder. And she's fun in the overworld. People tend to forget too that this game, there's many aspects of this game, not just Abyss Floor 12. There's exploration, boss farming. There's practicality for new players that don't have an access to a ton of characters and haven't been playing this game for years. You want a character that's going to synergize with a lot of other characters, and that's exactly what she does. I've ran her on mono teams, just threw her on. Like 3 Hydro, you could run her with 2 Geo, 2 Pyro, you can run her with Electro, or you can mix and match however you see fit. I've had great success with using her with Ganyu, Shenhe, and Kokomi or Farina with Freeze. She runs well with Kazuha or Jean, and then you mix in some elements. She's good with just a mono Pyro. She's good with the usual suspects like Bennett, Xingqiu, Yelan, you name it, the list goes on. And she does synergize well with other Geos if you want to go that route. How she actually stacks up against Arataki Ito, who is a great DPS in his own right, I can't say exactly at max potential who's exactly better, but I do know that Navia is a lot more versatile, and most people are going to want multi-elemental teams. Not everyone's going to want to use Geo and only Geo and a mono Geo team all the time. Not to mention, she has a playstyle that's not going to get super boring right away. I know a lot of people that pulled Zhao back in the day when he first came out. They had a ton of fun with him, but then after a month, people were just like, alright, I've been plunging for a month and I'm over it. Navia has a lot of fun, useful ways that you can use her skill. Her attack animations are fun, and her kit's super satisfying because it needs a bit of skill to do it optimally. You gotta collect the shards, use your shotgun optimally, because depending on how many shards and how charged up you are, it's going to do more damage. Her burst, and just how to rotate her optimally with your other teammates depending on the team comp you're running, and the wide variety of team comps you can run with her. After playing her for almost 12 hours straight, the one drawback and the only one I could really find that's genuine is obviously enemies that are Geo are going to be immune to her like Geo slimes, but because she's a Claymore she can still smash their shield, and because you need multiple element teams, it's not going to be a problem. If she was a mono Geo defensive oriented type character like we're used to seeing, then she'd get walled right out, but because she's not, this isn't a problem. And to boot, she's super fun to use in co-op. I ran a lot of different domains and things like that with Navia in just co-op, and she blends well on a lot of different variety of teammates that other people were using. So in that sense, she's a lot of fun as well. In regards to using her in boss fights, she is really good. It might be a little harder to cause crystallization a lot more frequently because with more enemies you'll be able to cause that a lot more obviously, but once you get her burst up and you get some elements going, I find that this isn't even a problem either. It's just something to note. And to boot, her voice lines, her character, she's super cool. She's very elegant, very smooth to use with her attack animations. Claymores can be clunky at times, but I don't find that with her whatsoever. And as far as weapons go, anything that's decent with attack or crit stats is going to be pretty good. 4 or 5 star. I've been using the Wolf's Gravestone because I literally have had that sitting in my locker for so long now. It's nice to be able to put it with a character. It doesn't really match her aesthetically, which kind of sucks, but it still works really well. The Battle Pass Claymore is really good on her. There's a lot of options you can use. I was going to pull for her weapon because it looks absolutely amazing aesthetically, and it would have been really good on her. The only problem though is I already have the Mist Splitter, and I don't feel like getting a duplicate of it. So I can't justify pulling on her weapon banner right now, maybe in the future, but it's not necessary whatsoever. Honestly, it's probably more optimal to go for a Constellation if you want the extra damage anyway. That's what I would do. So anyways, that's going to wrap up the video. I just want to talk about Navia, my initial thoughts, why I think she's definitely worth pulling, and maybe Geo isn't saved. Maybe not. Maybe it never will be. But this is a step in the right direction. They just gave us a really good damaging, aesthetically pleasing looking, and fun Geo character that works on many different team comps, is very versatile. This is a step in the right direction if you ask me. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you pulled for Navia? Are you on the fence? If you're saving for somebody else, well, that's completely understandable, but I do recommend trialing her out because like I said, I just find her so much fun. And on that note, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, we will see you all in the next one. Later.